Anyways, welcome back, guys, to NCPL, where the meta is made up and the points do not matter whatsoever. We're back with round 3, and I haven't really changed anything up with the team whatsoever. And the one really cool thing I do enjoy about this series is that you run into a lot of different people with a bunch of different battling backgrounds and whatnot. People that have come, you know, from just playing in-game, and they've learned with their peers to play different ways, and they have different things that they like, different things that they don't like. I do lean a little bit more towards hyper offensive because, you know, I like having free time and I like having friends, but, you know, sometimes you run into people that play hyper defensive stall stuff, and then you run into other people that play hyper offense, you run into people that run clerics, utility stuff, and they'll just run a bunch of different balance things, which I thought was kind of an interesting fact that I would like to mention right now. For now, it looks like my opponent has decided to go with something that's, it's pretty hyper offensive, honestly. When the bulkiest thing you have on your team is an Assault Vest Conch Elder that, by all means, is a pretty bulky Pokemon, but can be definitely considered more of a tank as opposed to a wall in sorts. And he's got a bunch of other threats like Gengar and Mega Manectric. Yeah, you could say he's going a little bit hyper offensive, but if there's something that I didn't really expect people to expect, I guess, is that I'd be bringing, you know, hyper offensive rain, which is not really a thing you see in Generation 6 as often as you did last generation, which, you know, happened to be the Weather Channel, but I think everybody knows that background. So I didn't really expect him to try to go for a Ice Punch on turn 1, predicting my Tornadus. Going for a knockoff was his best play there because it did hit both my Politoed and my Tornadus just fine. I'm actually going to go for a Hurricane right here. I have absolutely no reason not to mess around with anything like that. Because I don't have the Life Orb, I failed to KO him here, but I actually learned that he was Focus Sash, I believe, after the game. So it wouldn't have KO'd him anyway unless he hit himself with Confusion, which, if I'm not mistaken, he might have on this turn. Would have been really convenient if he did, don't get me wrong. But otherwise, I think Gengar just... Oh yeah, he did. He did. Okay. But he's probably doesn't have a lot in his attack IV, so I'm actually just going to clean him off with an Aqua Jet. That's fine, you know. I actually have Aqua Jet on here, so that way I don't take any damage from Talonflame's Brave Bird, and I out-prioritize it in the rain, just in case it thinks it wants to get off a nice little parting shot. I say no to none of that. And I'm going to go for a low kick here on the Mamoswine. I'm not sure if he was necessarily expecting that, but it turns out that he actually has 2 Sash users. What? It happens to be a Sash Mamoswine, and I'm pretty sure an Earthquake is going to be able to knock me out. So I didn't know whether or not an Aqua Jet was going to be able to knock him out from stock in the rain, because although it's a Kabutops we're talking about here, it's an Adamant Life Orb Kabutops using a stab move in the rain. I didn't know whether or not it would one-shot, and I knew low kick would have because of the base power. So this move honestly really confused me. He definitely, if you don't have anything to switch into a Keldeo Scald, other than that, that's I didn't feel good about that play at all. Right there, because I did lock myself in Scald and not Hydro Pump. I don't like relying on Hydro Pump. I should have picked Surf, because the fear for clicking Hydro Pump every freaking time was so real. I just chose not to use it ever in the tournament because I didn't want to miss one. It's scary. It's scary going for that and losing the game because of the fact that you might have missed. So as this thing megas, I'm quickly realizing that this thing bends my entire team over backwards, and there's not a damn thing I can do about it, because if there's something that my team actually really hates, it's fast electric types, despite having one. I only speed tie with his, and I got nothing. I have so many electric weaknesses. If Oras Megas were allowed, I would not be using a Mega Manectric here. I'd be using a Mega Swampert, which literally does not give a shit about, you know, Mega Manectric. So right here, I was actually kind of surprised he fell for that play, because I did have my regular Manectric. I'm actually just going to go ahead and Mega, and I believe go for... I really hope I went for an HP Ice here, predicting this thing to come as death fodder. If I didn't, don't blame me, because, I mean, that was still a pretty safe play overall. I'm going to get Intimidated off regardless and not take shit from an Ice Shard. So, thankfully, I did go for a Hidden Power. I don't have Rocks up, otherwise that play would not have... Actually, it wouldn't have really mattered anyway, just because, you know, rain's not up, there's no turns to waste or anything like that. So Conkeldur's going to come back in. As much as I would love to drop a Thunder on this thing, I'm actually just going to end up going for a +1 Volt Switch, which does a pretty respectable amount, don't get me wrong. But I get to pivot out into whatever I want, and I figure I might as well get the rain back up again. Worst case scenario, he goes for a knockoff and makes it so my rain is 5 instead of 8. But he just ends up going for a Drain Punch and physically defensive. He's not boosted in any way. It's going to hurt, but it's not the end of the world. So life goes on, and so does the rain. Gonna go for Scald here. Just because I figure at this point, as long as I have Mega Man Electric around, I should be pretty safe in doing whatever I need to from here. I just need something to outspeed Hawlucha for sure, and I do still have both of my things that fulfill that requirement. And I get a very timely crit here, which, although not needed, just kind of sped things up a lot. So Hawlucha's going to come back in here, and this is the first time we have actually seen Hawlucha so far, and I believe I go for a... Do I go for a Scald? I think I go for... No, I go for a Pear Song, actually expecting him to sub or Swords Dance, just because the ones that I've seen lately have been Citrus Berry, and I just really didn't feel like messing around with that. So I'm going to Protect on the turn that he actually goes for an Acrobatics. I was really hoping he would High Jump Kick there, but at the same time, if he was even HP and he procced his own Citrus Berry by going for the High Jump Kick, that would have been risky. But yeah, I'm just going to go into Football here. He predicts this very nicely and decides to go for a High Jump Kick now. Although this was very threatening initially, as long as I still... He didn't have his Unburden triggered as far as... Yeah, you know, he didn't use an item. You have to use your item in order to get that boost. So I decided to go into Manectric here, just because if he does want to keep this thing around, he has to switch it. Otherwise, I get to fire off a free Thunder, and he no longer has any resist. So Thunder is a Thunder. Any way you cut it, this is one of the cleanest Thunders I can drop, and the best thing he has to take it is, in fact, his own Mega Manectric, which is not going to appreciate it that much, to be honest. Or I guess I went for a Volt Switch. Why would I do that? I had a free Thunder, because now I have nothing that does anything of the sort to this outside of, yeah, you know what, I was going to say Fuba, but Fuba died. This is around the point where me and Fuba were not on good terms, because Fuba just shit the bed at every opportunity, and I was like, I'm really disappointed in you. And then I changed his moveset, and he was awesome. So I actually sat Keldeo right here to a T-Bolt. This is around the point where Keldeo and Fairthorn were really making me question this team, because they were very, very weak links. Do I still have Kabutops? No, I think I lost it to Earthquake. That's right. So I'm going to bring back in Politoed to get the rain back up for a couple more turns. It's going to be important for Mega Manectric to be able to knock out his own, Manectric. So that's fine. I'm losing pokes. That's what happens in Pokemon, by the way. You just end up losing a lot of Pokemon. So, go figure, you know, we both bred these things fairly well, and we just end up speed tying. I do have the edge in that I have a harder hitting move, but for whatever reason, he is just winning all of these speed ties. I know I'm timid, and my speed IV is 31. His has to be 2 in order for this, you know, to keep happening. But he goes for a T-Bolt, I drop a Thunder. They both kind of look like 2-hit KOs. He goes for an Overheat right here. I'm not sure which one actually does more damage. I feel like T-Bolt, I think Overheat does a little bit more. So had he hit that and he actually rolled well on it, I think that would have paid off for him. But a very timely miss is... I'm not sure what the roll looked like on that either, because it hasn't shown my HP in some time, because I haven't taken damage in some time. Anyways, drop a Thunder on the Hawlucha, and that's it for game 1, guys. He's down, but he's definitely not out yet. So if you guys did enjoy that match, make sure to leave a like, rating, comment, subscribe, do your thing. You guys know how that works. And stay tuned for game 2 against Penn State. I'll be joining you guys probably tomorrow for that one, or whenever these get narrated. I don't know. We'll catch you then.